So I want to get ahead of a headline that sounds shocking at face value, but when you sort of understand the history and read into it, it's a big nothing burger. And you know how I like to expose Russian and Chinese nothing burgers. But in this case, Russia has announced its intention to leverage its knowledge in nuclear energy and space travel for a collaboration with China on a lunar initiative to potentially put a nuclear power facility on the moon. Yuri Borisov, the head of Russia's space agency, highlighted the limitations of solar panels for providing consistent electricity to future moon bases, suggesting nuclear energy as a more reliable alternative. Borisov disclosed that this plan is supposed to take place between 2033 and 2035. And with the Chinese, they want to deploy and activate a nuclear power unit on the moon's surface. Now, before anyone gets too concerned about a potential nuclear device on the moon, there is already one there. Apollo 12 astronauts employed a nuclear generator for their scientific lunar experiments. And given the lengthy lunar nights, which are over 14 Earth days, solar power alone is insufficient. So there is a need for an alternative energy source on the moon. Now, this challenge is definitely something NASA is also considering as it ramps up its mission to revisit the moon through its Artemis program, aiming for a manned moon landing by 2026. Now, NASA is collaborating with the U.S. Department of Energy to select concept proposals for a nuclear power system intended for lunar missions by the end of this decade. However, I can see where the concern could come from. The Russian Space Agency has faced speculation, specifically from the U.S., regarding potential deployments of a new breed of nuclear weapon that works against satellites in space. I discussed this in a previous video as to why this is impractical and likely not happening, and Russia has refuted these speculations, although you have to take what Russia says with a grain of salt. Now, this isn't the first time Moscow and Beijing have worked together. The two countries inked a deal to develop an international lunar research station, and this partnership complements China's own lunar missions, including the upcoming Chang'e 6 mission aimed at lunar rock sample collection that's set for launch in May. Now, that being said, this is quite ambitious for both countries. Russia's space program has seen a series of significant obstacles and setbacks, notably with the failure of its first lunar mission in nearly 50 years when the Luna 25 spacecraft malfunctioned and slammed into the moon's surface back in August of last year. Both Russia and China do have rovers on the moon. Russia's are very old, but they do have the ability and the know-how to get to the moon. But clearly there are some kinks to work out before they start sending manned missions with nuclear reactors to the moon. In the meantime, worrying about a nuclear device on the moon is another nothing burger and not something I'm going to be concerned with in the near future.